The importance of water to life seeped into me at the age of 10. My parents moved our young family of 6 to a waterfront farm on Dagenham Bay, from the bustle of West Vancouver city life, from an ultra-conservative society, to a rural piece of heaven, Gabriola Island. I realized immediately that I was free to wander the beaches and woods, free to lie under the stars, looking up to the Milky Way and dreaming of other planets, other life, listening to frogs and birds and stepping into existentialism. The old apple orchard that still stands to this day became our playground. It gave breakfast on the run when school started in the fall. The cherry trees, gnarled and solid, fed us and the crows in the spring. The reef out front at low tide was my school, my home, and my passion. The ponds that ran to the ocean to feed the clam beds sang at night through spring and summer and into early winter. The lively melody was a rhythm of joy for me. As the weather changed and the house grew cold, the pond froze. We would skate and play and wondering how life survived the freeze. Spring brought the thaw, the chorus, and the waters flowed out to the beach to feed the clam beds again. We shared our beach with the Sunumi First Nations, whose land extended south to the Gabriola Pass and the large clam garden in front of the farm. North in Dagenham Bay was Burial Island, now known as Maguila. It is a small island considered highly sensitive, holding immense spiritual and historical importance to the Sunyuma people, a traditional burial and death ceremony site. The reef between our farm and Maguila was exposed daily by tides, and on the lowest tides of the year, we could walk to the little island through eelgrass, living in the wonder of the reef. Life on the reef was alien and foreign to me at first, but over the years I got to know the inhabitants. The sea cucumbers that were 3 feet long were always present, large gumboot chiton, crabs and fish and beautiful seaweeds, sandstone and rock formations that were alien and personified, and the killer whales. The whales. The killer whales, they came through the pass frequently, and I could hear their calls from the school bus stop, running home yelling, "Whales!" so everyone could watch them travel through the pass. Surrounded by spirit, but not understanding these presences, I lived a life filled with beauty, calm, nature, and reverence. But over time, things started to change in my environment. 10 kilometers away was Harmac Pulp Mill. Nanaimo considers the 1970s as the peak period for the mill, when it was known for its robust production and growth. There was multiple calls for environmental mitigation, and in the 1980s, the introduction of stricter environmental regulations impacted the operations and required improvements to effluent outflow. With the results of mass production coupled with the loose environmental regulations, I observed the effluent affecting the reef. Many species, I call them my friends, died off. A quiet unsettling sat in my heart. I instinctively knew that there was something bigger than me happening around me. There was spiritual unrest in many forms, a restless energy that carried a crumbly sense of doom. As time moved on, I headed to university to study marine biology. It was a response to my grief. Over time, the farm receded in my head, but never my heart. I yearned for it deeply, to the point of obsession. I returned again to the clam beds and the ponds. I took my children and my partners to see what I had seen, to breathe in the air, to feel the land. Looking for the words, processing grief and loss, building my story about a place and a time that was irreplaceable. Land matters to us. Land grounds us. We have memories and emotions attached to pieces of land. And to know that land is receding and affected by rising waters causes human grief. Friends tell me that the rising water is causing anxiety, fear, and some disbelief. Prove it, one said. It won't affect me. Others were just confused. Many were sad. But the commonality is that they all had stories to tell, of memories, of times, of places, where the rising water has left its imprint on their lives.